Hello, my lovely witches. Welcome to episode 47 of C3 Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails. I'm River Kane, and yet again without Ren. I have seen one of her projects, you guys, and it is outstanding. It's amazing. That girl, she's got some talent. So we miss her, but we are going to go through with today without her. So today I'm going to be talking about empathy and care for the empathic witch. So first, I don't have a cocktail today. I am at a work seminar this week. So I actually have had a few at the bar, but nothing that I have made myself. So not witchy, but still fun. Okay. So what is empathy? The dictionary defines it as the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Rather than having a natural barrier that controls the flow of energy in and out of their system, an empath lives in a state of free flow. This free flowing of energy often manifests emotionally. Emotional empaths pick up and hold onto emotions from their surroundings. Some more definitions. An empath is someone who perceives and feels not only their own emotions, energy, body language, and facial expressions profoundly, deeply, but also who quite literally feels all of those things in other people. An empath picks up and absorbs energy and emotions from people, animals, environments, and even inanimate objects. So Avery with the Traveling Witch blog, which is one of my favorite blogs, you guys need to go and check her out. She explains it like this, and this is a quote straight from her blog. When your emotional state can be so easily swayed by the people around you, a single day in normal society can feel like a dizzying roller coaster of emotions. You start off your day feeling good, but then your partner is worried about work over breakfast, so now you're feeling anxious for no reason. Then during your commute, someone on the bus is angry or feeling rushed, and now you're anxious and agitated. At work, your boss is frustrated with someone's work performance. The barista is sad about her breakup when you pick up your coffee. And the friend you're grabbing lunch with is feeling conflicted about her boyfriend. So now you're on a wild ride through every one of those feelings on top of your own feelings. So this type of thing can lead to energetic blocks, physical discomfort, and unprovoked emotions. Now, I am empathic myself. And I would often find myself crying for no reason, quote, for no reason, but because there was emotions in someone near me that they were feeling, that I was feeling. And so I would cry and my husband would be like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. But I'm highly sensitive, and being highly sensitive to the point where it interferes with almost every aspect of your life is terrible. And in fact, I would be embarrassed when I couldn't control it. I couldn't control this outbursts of emotion sometime, and I would end up apologizing to people. I was embarrassed. I felt guilty. It literally hindered every single day of my life. Did you know that they actually did experiments in neuroscience using MRI imaging and have found physical evidence that helps understand what empathy is? Well, it pinpoints where in the brain empathy is involved, so they can actually see it in your brain. It's a real thing. Empathy does not equal sympathy, which I think a lot of people don't really know that distinction. When you feel sympathy for someone, you identify with the situation that that person finds himself or herself in. Empathy involves identifying what that someone is feeling and additionally actually feeling those feelings yourself. This isn't a metaphor like walking a mile in someone else's shoes. It's literal. And neuroscience has shown it because they could see it in your brain on an MRI scan. So sympathy is feeling for someone, which we all do, and empathy involves you feeling with them. So how do you know if you're an empath? What can you do what are the tells of being an empath? You need alone time to recharge. I mean, not just need it, but need, capital NEED, need. You need to control your surroundings and the people in your life as much as possible. I have been a control freak for, ever. And people joke about it. And they're like, yep, River's a control freak. And, it's just something that empaths have to do. You can see through people to their true intentions before most other people can. And this is a good one. I often read people. I pick up on things long before others do. Like I'll be watching a girl and her dad, and I'm like, oh, she just had a fight with him. And, a lot of it is reading body language, which a lot of people can do. That's not the same thing as feeling it. I can feel her being upset and her emotions at that. And it hurts me. I mean, I feel those feelings. You don't like crowds or you love crowds. So this one is interesting. So crowds, of course, are lots of people, lots of emotions, lots of energy that can definitely overwhelm you. But on the other side, which I am on the flip side of this, you can actually kind of get a high off the energy from a crowd. And that is also a sign of being an empath. In the right kind of crowd, you are taking in this huge amount of energy, elation, happiness, horniness, whatever it is that's flying around. And it can make you feel drunk on the energy. I mean, that's how, and I am an extrovert, which is often not the case with empaths, but I think it's because I do get this surge of energy off of people. The crowd, though, that crowd high is likely to be followed by a crash after you get out of that situation, and you're going to feel tired. You have headaches. I have headaches all the time when I'm out of that kind of situation. Mood swings, body aches, sensitivity to light and sound. I think this might also be why I love cities as well as nature. I get that high in a city, that buzz, that energy that's everywhere in the city. I talked a little bit about urban magic in one of the episodes. I feel that elated, excited, happy buzz. But at some point that crashes, and then I have to get away. I have got to get away to refocus myself, and preferably that's outside in nature. Maybe with my bees. I love my bees. You might have heightened senses. Like for me, it's the sense of smell. I have this one for sure. And like if someone wore too much perfume to the movie theater, this was pre-COVID days. I haven't been to a movie theater since COVID, but it would just overwhelm me to the point that I would be gagging and kind of obnoxious. And I almost ended up with my husband having to fight the woman's date because I was being so dramatic. But that acting out, it's a real thing. It's a real empathic thing. So that was a bad thing that I experienced with it, but there are pros to being an empath. You are more in tune with yourself mentally and emotionally than most people. You're more in tune with the people around you. This actually allows you to choose better people for yourself and to be a great friend to the people that you do choose to have in your life. It's easy to know whether someone needs a hug or needs to rant or, just needs a distraction when you can feel what they're feeling. So, you are able to put yourself in the other person's shoes, but it's more than just sympathy. And that goes a long way to help prevent misunderstandings. You are also, if you're an empath, good at creating peace and cohesion in teams. So since you can feel the energies of everyone involved, you can learn to adjust how the group functions and relate to each other because you are feeling each of those people's feelings. And so it makes you a great mediator. In fact, empaths are great mediators. That is an excellent job choice for someone who is an empath. This applies to me for sure. And though I'm also a Libra, which is a sign that likes that balance and harmony, mediation is something that I'm very good at because I feel what everybody's feeling. I can not only read the people's physical cues, but I can feel their emotional not thoughts. I can't read minds. I wish I could read minds, but can't read minds. You inspire trust in people naturally. And this is so true. It's very interesting. People, quote, like you because you, quote, get them. They don't have to be defensive because they can see that you understand what they're feeling and what they're talking about. On the flip side of that, though, it can unnerve people when you see too much, when you see through the facade and the mask that they might be trying to wear in public. And it can be unnerving to them when you aren't fooled by that. So be aware of that. Many empaths find that whether they're parents themselves or not, that they adore children and they have this profound desire to ensure the well-being, safety, emotional support, and healthy upbringing of children. And I found that I do have that for sure. I have been room mom for my kids, and I just think children are brilliant, and I love them, and they know I love them. I speak to them on their level. I don't, they're humans, and a lot of parents and teachers don't look at children that way. And so they do naturally come to me. They were always at my house, playing with my kids so for me, that's a plus. But for some others, like I've got some friends who swear they are never going to have children. They don't like children. So for them, it wouldn't be that good of a thing, I guess. An empath is also spiritually open. They tend to feel connected to a higher source, whether it's the goddess or the mother earth or God or the goddesses and gods that there are the deities that are out there. For me, it's the universe. I feel connected to this endless energy that's out there. Empaths are also intuitive. They can sense when something is off, which is a great little power to have. I mean, when you know something bad is going down, you can feel it. Oh, and sometimes that's such an awful feeling, you guys. I think any of you empaths know when you walk into a room and it's just dark, not physically dark, but mentally dark. It's a thing. It's a hard thing to have to deal with, especially if that's, say, at your workplace and you can't just turn around and go, nope, I'm out of here. You got to stay. So that is interesting. So the cons of being an empath. Empaths are like sponges and can often absorb the feelings and emotions of others, obviously, sometimes to the detriment of themselves. And as such, we become easy targets for energy vampires, which I'll talk about in a minute. Empaths are also naturally prone to feeling overwhelmed, overstimulated, drained, stressed, or anxious. I mean, obviously. Being tired, it's also a thing. That constantly feeling the emotional whirlwind all around you, it's exhausting. And, how you respond to this might be, you might have insomnia, or you might be like me and you could sleep for 12 hours at a time. When I get overwhelmed through work or whatever, there are days that I'm like, I just need to sleep. I'm going to go sleep. And I'll sleep, and then I'll get up and eat dinner, and then I'll go back to bed and sleep all night. It's just physically exhausting. In fact, some empaths are prone to getting sick more often than other people, which may come from the fact that they have these heightened emotional responses, the stress, the anxiety, and all of that. And that all affects your immune system. We have huge hearts, which you might think, oh, but that's not a con, that's a pro. Well, people with huge hearts often give too much. They're good listeners. They help relieve the pain of others, but we relieve it by taking it on ourselves. And then we feel tired. So yes, having a huge heart is a good thing, but it can be devastating. Like, do you remember that Charmed episode? It was the old Charmed, not the new one. And Prue is led by Balthazar, I think his name was, to a building that's about to be demolished. And she finds this guy she thinks he's homeless or something like that, if I remember correctly. And he is an empath that feels the emotions of the world. And so Prue casts this spell to release the power from him, thinking that she's helping him, but she ends up actually absorbing his empathic power. And it turns out that it was really a demon who had been trapped. He had empathic power trapped in him by a priest to protect the world. And I just remember her on her hands and knees and crying and holding her fists full of hair as the pressure of everybody's emotions hit her. And that's not too far from the truth. I mean, obviously that was a TV show with, and she was hearing their thoughts and stuff too, which is not something that I can do. I mean, there probably are empaths that can do that, but not me. So yeah, it can be crushing. So energy vampires, I wanted to touch a little bit on those because empaths are victims, can be victims. They're often targeted by energy vampires. Energy vampires are people who intentionally, or sometimes not intentionally, but a lot of times intentionally, drain your emotional energy. They feed on your willingness to listen and care for them, and that just leaves you exhausted and overwhelmed. Energy vampires always find themselves in the middle of some kind of catastrophe. There's always some kind of drama going on. And once they found you and found that you listen to them and that you understand them, you can feel them, then they fling all this drama onto you in hopes that you'll absorb it, fix it, and help them get back on their feet and get on the right path. Unfortunately, for empaths, this can be disastrous. People who are sensitive and compassionate are just prime targets for these energy vampires. When we offer our ear, our kind heart, and our endless energy, they just take it. They take it. In that way, energy vampires use your very nature against you as an empath, draining you of your vitality and taking it onto themselves. Energy vampires, they demand a lot from the people that they target. They are a continuous drain on your resources and can have a noticeable effect on your well-being. Over time, this excess stress can lead to anxiety, depression, heart disease, all kinds of physical ailments. So while it's best to avoid these energy vampires, it's not always possible. If you do end up with one, you need to establish boundaries. Don't give in to their guilt and bullying tactics, which is easier said than done, but that's what they do. What is it called? Ghosting. They're very good at ghosting you. And then at worst, cut them out entirely. And we as big-hearted empaths don't always want to do that, but we might need to for our own safety and health. So how can you protect yourself as an empath? And I think I could probably do an entire episode on empath protection, but I'm going to go over some of them here. So cleanse and ground yourself. Do 5 minutes of cleansing and grounding exercises every day. And I think I got most of this from Avery, the Traveling Witch site. Her article on empaths was fantastic. So do 5 minutes of each of cleansing and grounding exercises every day or more if you need it, and cleansing baths at least once a week, which I still haven't started doing those. I've got the bathtub ready. I've ordered a little pillow and all of that, but I need to get some herbs and oils and things for that. Pay attention to how each exercise that you do, the grounding and cleansing exercises, affect you. Many energetically permeable, I guess, people find that salt cleansing baths are too harsh, and that leaves them feeling even more drained and exhausted. So you're going to have to play around with what works for you as far as cleansing your energy, your mental, psychic energy. Some herbs also might not affect you the way that you think it would, just because as an empath, we're a little bit different. You might find that some grounding exercises, which we'll do an episode on grounding too at some point, leave you feeling jittery instead of that calm, grounded, peaceful feeling that we're supposed to have. When energies get too intense for your mind and body, learn how to do this grounding. Literally, you can go barefoot outside. That's one way to do it. I mean, that's really your feet on the earth, and visualize the chaotic energy being wiped clean from your head to your feet, and channel it out of your feet and back into the ground as if burying it. I think meditation is a great way to cleanse and ground yourself as well. As I said before, I love my chakra meditation that I do every morning. It does make me feel cleansed and energized, and I kind of picture it as being clear, even though the the chakras all have colors associated with them, and I go through each one in the colors and I feel the swirls. When it's over, I kind of feel like my aura is this clean, clear essence around me. And that also is probably why I'm not nearly as overwhelmed as I used to be with my empathic issues. And the other reason, and I kind of hate to say this, but I'm on Lexapro now. And I mean, I had no idea how real people felt and lived until I went on Lexapro, and it calmed me down. I don't cry at everything anymore. And in some ways, I feel guilty because I am medicating my gift. But in other ways, I'm so thankful that I can actually now function like a human. I could not function. I mean, basic everyday things, I couldn't do it. And so, yes, I have muted my ability, but I'm actually able to live now as well. You can ward yourselves. So Avery of the Traveling Witch says, and she's got a daily protection ritual I'm going to read you, but she says every empath needs to use a daily ward of some kind. And I've never done this. She said white light wards are common, but use whatever works for you. She likes the ward below that I'm going to tell you about because it's simple and the daily momentum builds power quickly. So she has this daily protection ritual. And she says, start by finding an item that can encircle you that you won't mind wearing every day. That's key. It can be a necklace, a bracelet, a belt, or even a ring. It's important that you're comfortable wearing it every single day. She said, even in a pinch, you can use yarn tied around your ankle. She says, every day when you wake up, put the item on, and as you do, hold the intention that it will protect you from harm. You can say an incantation out loud if you want to, write your own, find one online, but visualize the item creating a shield around you, which is kind of what I do with my meditation with the chakras. I envision that shield around me. And then simply hold that thought in your mind. Wear the item anytime you're out of the house, or if you're traveling and you can't ward your living space, wear it all the time. And only take it off when you're showering to give yourself, and then give yourself a chance to put it back on afterwards. Every time you put on your necklace or whatever the item is, you will be increasing the strength of the spell. After even just a week, this provides you with ample protection that will continue to grow as you continue repeating it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And that's something all of us can do. I mean, we can all wear a bracelet or something like that. A lot of the tools that I mentioned in last week's episode, I did the episode on calming magic and self-care. A lot of those things also work to help an empath cleanse themselves and calm themselves down and become centered again. So like journaling, the meditating, the aromatherapy, the candles, crystals, all of that. I did find that snowflake obsidian is really good. It grounds, repels negative energy, and balances emotions, which is really critical for an empath. It also supports the root chakra. And then malachite brings healing. It enhances willpower. It blocks negative energy. It does deep energy cleansing. It supports the heart and throat chakras. And then you can also do crystal grids as another way of directing your empath crystals to support you. And you can make your crystal grid as small or as large as you like. I read somewhere that there was someone who had a crystal grid as big as their room, which is fabulous to me. I would love to have that many crystals to do that. Be aware. One of the simplest forms of protection is just to remind yourself that you are a sensitive and be aware of your surroundings. Avoid visiting places where you feel the bad vibes, or places that drain you, that you feel tired after you go to. Just avoid going there if you can. Trust your intuition. We're witches, people. Our gut says a lot. We've got a lot of intuition to draw on, and just trust it. Transmute negative energy. As empaths, we take on a whole bunch of negative energy every time we go out. So find ways that you can transmute this negative energy in real time. For example, one of the examples I read was bring plants into your workspace to help absorb any negative energy. And then laughter. Laughter is huge, you guys. It's a gift that expels negative energy at once. And I'm not sure if it's the sound of it or it's the actual feeling that we feel as empaths of the joy that comes from that laughter. But whatever it is, it's awesome. And, laughter, as they say, is the best medicine. So if you can find a way to bring laughter into your life, that would be awesome. And did you know that kindness and happiness are actually linked? Kindness benefits those on both the receiving end and the giving end. And research shows that being kind can actually make you happy. Not that empathy is kindness, but I think empaths generally are kind because we do feel what other people are feeling. Well, that's all I've got. It might be a little shorter than usual, but here at this conference, I'm kind of limited in what I can do, but that's all I've got today. And I would love to hear from you guys as to your stories on empath. I think every empath has a horror story of when they got overwhelmed or things that they felt. So I would love to hear those. So thanks for listening. You can find us at our website, www.c3witchypodcast.com. There you can find our email. You can find all of our episodes, our links to our merchandise. You can find our social media links. We've got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and our monthly newsletter is posted there, as well as our blog, but I don't think either one of us has done a blog in a while. Our email is c3riverandwren@gmail.com. So send us an email. Let us know what you think. Ideas for topics would be awesome. Also, if you would like to support us, you can click the Patreon button on our website. It's on that very first page. Or you can go to www.patreon.com/C3witchypodcasts. And any support you can give us would be so helpful. And in return, we have special goodies for you. If you do, everybody gets a tote bag. And then we have free downloads like a witchy journal pages and witchy to-do lists and bonus episodes, that kind of thing. And thank you to our current patrons. We love you. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, thanks for listening. And y'all be good, witches.